Hello, you beautiful legends, and welcome to a very short segment, probably one of two, of Blunt Force Healing Podcast. This is episode number 435, and here we are, the beginning of a boring week, first week after holidays, first Monday after holidays, and I must admit, I felt like crap. I will be transparent about it. It's very difficult to come back after holidays to a standard day of work. I would expect to be slightly hungry to get into it and, start working on stuff, but it isn't that way. I guess that's the effect of not having a proper holidays for a longer period of time and then going for just 10-11 days is basically not enough. I think I was looking into some article in the past that was citing research around how much it takes for average person, obviously based on the sample in the research. I don't know how many people were involved and what was the type of research, but it was research regardless. They were tracking people that had a regular 9 to 5, sometimes overtime, sometimes just the normal stuff. And regular life, obviously everyone's life is different, but it was meant to be average. And it turns out that to properly recover or recharge batteries, you need about 2 weeks at the minimum, not thinking about work and being in a state of maybe not the full relaxation, but at least no pressure and worries of the, I would say, tense and regular weeks that you work on. So there's also obviously a lot of caveats to that, and it needs a lot of angles and a lot of different samples of people to say anything of essence. But such research only shows that we are just scratching the surface by going for short breaks or something like that. And I think the better option for most of the people was to actually do shorter breaks more often than one single longer holidays, because obviously the tension grows over time, and if you are not having any rest period for many months, then 2 weeks is just enough to do the baseline, or I would say the foundation and bare minimum of the recharge. But it's just a biological recharge. Your mental state is not going to be properly rested if you stretch it too much and then just do the 2 weeks. So 2 weeks is the bare minimum. So most of people won't get recharge in their life, because I barely hear about people doing any holidays longer than 2 weeks. It's kind of golden rule to do like a week or two and then get back on, mainly because not only the holidays or vacation is becoming more and more expensive and harder to squeeze in that busy life, but also because it seems like we still tend to put priority on work and very to the ground issues than me time and the time with the family or friends, which in the long term can be devastating and is devastating. Let's be honest. We know that we are tribal beings, and creatures that need some form of interaction. Obviously, there are people that like to be alone more than in the social setting. Probably that's me. I like to be with people, but I also really like to be alone, and I have no problem with that. But that's just my mind. I know that some people just can't be alone with themselves because they have tendency of overthinking stuff and starting to worry while being alongside other people or around family, friends, or even, co-workers. They just feel like they have support and they don't think that much, or they think lighter on those problems that they have in life, and they don't exaggerate or over worry about them like they would if they were just by themselves. So this is the first segment. It will be a short update. I will record the rest probably after I make a dinner, and that's it. So because today is not in any way exciting, I'll basically pick on the next item on the list from the, I think, day 431 when we returned from our trip to Morocco. I made an emergency or backlog list of topics that I will be picking on and writing about when I don't have, I would say, anything to write about or talk about. So that's probably it. Oh, one thing is that, as you can see, it's dark already, so it's 7 p.m, 10 past 7 actually, so I need to go and make that late dinner. But Julian was actually at the doctor's with Elizabeth. Because I was on the meeting, I couldn't skip this one. So Elizabeth picked him up from school and went to GP with him just to check, because we were slightly worried, and I said, listen, it's better to check him even if there's nothing serious than just let it go and keep him going with that cough for longer. Because he doesn't have any fever or high temperature. After that Morocco, he started kind of recovering, but he still has that cough, and that worries me that there might be something still sitting there and not making it easy for him, and eventually it might complicate into something worse. So it's better to react now. And doctor checked him and she agreed that he is on the mend, because it seems like he had ear infection that is now recovering, and that would align with what he said when his hearing actually on one ear was worse, and that would explain because there was a swollen element to the ear that, because of the swelling, caused less space for the sound to go across the ear channel, and that was affecting his hearing. But she wasn't happy with how his lungs or breathing is. Not that there's something serious, but it's not okay. So she gave him antibiotics. I just went to the pharmacy to buy them, and he has I think 4 or 5 days of antibiotic, and we'll see if it improves. If it does, it's fine. If not, we need to visit the doctor and she needs to decide what to do next. But yeah, obviously we're not panicking. I was kind of expecting that this virus is still there. So I bought that antibiotic and also probiotics for him to cover his or protect his stomach, because he was taking some ibuprofen on our trip to Morocco, which definitely had some small to medium impact on his stomach lining, because ibuprofen is a bit aggressive, but we needed something that will fight infection and drop the temperature when he was heating up. So yeah, there was no win-win situation in that scenario. We needed to use what was available. It was very unfortunate for him to get sick immediately after we landed in Morocco, because this is where when it started. So he wasn't able to fully enjoy the trip as well, which I could see. He was low in energy, and while he's always kind of interested in and curious about a lot of stuff, he preferred staying at home or staying at the hotel or in the accommodation and not traveling too much, which was not like Julian. So it was definitely visible. That's why we fought it with everything we had, without kind of bringing the big guns like going to the hospital or anything in Morocco, which would be probably a very complicated thing to do. I have the private insurance, which would definitely help abroad, but we wouldn't even know where to go, and by the looks of what we've seen there, it wouldn't be the level of hospitals I suspect that we get here or in Poland or anywhere in Europe. So yeah, we managed it. He went to school today, first day, and he was okay, but again, we needed to react. I'm already almost 13 minutes. That was meant to be short segment. It is not. So let me wrap up. And because I said so much, I think I will leave it as a single segment and not record anything else, and give you a little bit of time back in comparison to previous episodes that were for about 20-30 minutes. So thank you very much for tuning in. Tomorrow will be a very packed day. I have a lot of things to do. I'll probably mention them in the blog post, and I'll record episode tomorrow. What I'm thinking about is switch slightly to recording episodes in the morning time and talk about things that happened before, in the day before or the week before, to see if that will improve the way that I can manage and publish the blog and the podcast in reasonable time, because recently I fell back into late publishing just before midnight, and I happened to stay 2 or 3 nights a bit longer over time, and that also might be what accounts for me feeling really crappy. So below 15 minutes. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for tuning in. I always appreciate the fact that you're spending time with me, and let's see what tomorrow brings. Have a great rest of the day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are, and see you in the next episode.